I had no idea really how to use a computer. I didn't really grow up with computers in my life. I know that's kind of funny to a lot of you younger people, but I'm 42 years old. So anyway, it is what it is. There was a lot of stuff that was new to me. I really didn't understand how social media worked. I didn't understand social media in regards to reaching a lot of different people in the masses. Tessa, can you mute yourself off? So I look now back on my Time Hop, and because do you guys have Time Hop apps? If you don't, you should definitely download that, especially if you're a newer coach, so that you can look back this time next year and see what it was you were doing that you could have improved on. Did I lose you guys? Okay. I look back now, because I've been a coach for 2 years, but honestly, the first year I really didn't do anything other than get a discount and kind of silently watch. I joined boot camps. I never really completed a boot camp, a coach boot camp. I would complete, challenge boot camps, but I wouldn't do the training. Or I would at least start off the training, but I wouldn't see it all the way through because I really didn't understand the concept of building a business through social media and network marketing. So it kind of took me a little while to catch on. But I always went to a Super Saturday. I've always been to a Super Saturday since I started coaching 2 years ago. I haven't missed one. And then I wasn't able to swing Summit the first year, but I did go to Summit last year. And actually when I went to Summit last year is when I hit Diamond. But then my business still struggled at that point. So really my business has probably taken off the most in the since the new year of 2015. And really, I think that's been because I have been so extremely consistent with the 3 vital principles. And I kind of did it unknowingly. I had a lot go on in my own personal life with my health. And I came to some new discoveries with my own health. And I thought, wow, I should be sharing this with other people. So I just started really sharing what I had going on with, finding out I have Hashimoto's thyroiditis, which is an autoimmune disease. So I started sharing about what I was discovering there. I started sharing about, interviewing doctors. And then I was diagnosed with breast cancer in February. And I really started to share about what it was like to be diagnosed with breast cancer. Marianne, can you mute yourself, honey? I really started to share what it was like to be diagnosed with breast cancer and have made all of the changes that I have made. Hey, Lisa, could you mute yourself too, honey? And John as well. Lisa, John, I think those are the only people that are left to mute themselves. I had started to get healthy 2 years ago, and I have lost 55 plus pounds, and I've done a lot of changes, and thank God I did that in regards to being diagnosed with breast cancer. So when I was diagnosed, I had a large knowledge base of, Marianne, could you mute yourself, honey? I had a large knowledge base of my own health and what I needed to do. And I really started to share about that. And I have surgery on Friday. And I really, I was diagnosed with breast cancer on February 24th of 2015. And I'm going to be having a bilateral mastectomy on Friday, which is the 8th of May. So it's been a very short period of time that my cancer journey has started, but I've really been open and sharing a lot about that. So how does that relate to the 3 vital behaviors? You're like, how does that relate to the 3 vital behaviors? Because that was my first question. Well, the 3 vital behaviors are be a product of the product. So work out with products, and drink Shakeology, read personal development, and invite. So how is sharing my particular journey and what I'm doing on a daily basis to prepare for this major surgery? Well, by me sharing that every day, like what it's been like, how I've interviewed doctors, how I have began to, just each stage of like how my journey unfolded, that's all inviting people into a view into my life. So I think, and I also, my husband and I started to do videos on each stage of different things that were occurring in our life and how it affected us. So that's really when I began to see a lot of engagement, because it was just me being me. It wasn't me being, trying to be like other top coaches, and, like trying to place a persona on myself that it wasn't necessarily me. Because really, I listened to a Lindsay Matway, Melanie Mitchell call last January, and I know that it's in the Synergy Coaches if you guys want to look it up. But it was about, I remember Lindsay Matway talking about, social media is a way to look into each particular person's life. So it literally is your own version of your own reality TV show. So whatever you post on social media is a glimpse into your life. That is inviting. That is what's going to attract people to your particular personality and brand of humanism, So, being diagnosed with this illness and then sharing that and just being really open and honest about all of the different aspects of it is what, I don't want to say it's just what made people interested in what I had going on, and I was working out every day. I was really honing in on my nutrition. I was, it's just, every step, all of those pieces. And then again, how does that relate to personal development? Well, personal development is about reading about how we can better our minds, how we can better have self-confidence, how we can better relate to our husbands or our wives or our children or our coworkers or our fellow coaches or our clients or just people in general, like just even the checkout girl at the grocery store. Instead of being in a bad mood and like being overwhelmed by everything that's going on in my particular life or your particular life, personal development helps us to tap into that source of confidence that is available to each and every person so that we can smile and be happy and spread joy and spread love even when things in our life seem to not be going well. And that's why personal development is so important. And really, I got to tell you that I've done a lot of personal development. And that's really what drew me into Beachbody. One of the things that I love about Beachbody is that, help people get healthy in their physical sense, but also help them get healthy in their emotional, spiritual sense as well. So when I was diagnosed with my illness, I was able to tap into all of the personal development that I've ever done in my entire life and really put that into practice, because it is one thing to read a book and get the information. It is a completely other thing to take that information and actually utilize it into a particular life circumstance. And that's why personal development is so important. And when you can begin to do that and share even just those little tidbits, of like, I got a flat tire today, and I, in my past, would have freaked out over having a flat tire. But, I read this book and I remembered a passage, or I remembered a concept from that book, and it helped me get through it. That's something that you could share with people that they would identify with. That's you being real. And I guess that's the whole part that I'm really trying to hit home to you, is that you have to be real in order for people to be attracted to you. And that's really what changed for me. I'm 42 years old. I am married. I, am in recovery. I have a couple of serious illnesses, and I still am working out. I'm still delving into my nutrition. I'm still delving into everything that I need to do to be physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually healthy and happy. So that is inspiring to people. It's inspiring to me when I say it, but I do it every day. So it's not, I don't think anything of it when I do it. Does that make sense? So anybody have any questions on right there? If you do, just unmute yourself and ask. No? I'm looking at my notes of what I wanted to cover in this call. Another thing that I did back in September was I am vegan. I have been vegan for the last 2 years. And that's a particular market or people that I attract, is people who are interested in plant-based eating or changing their health because of plant-based food. So one of the things that I noticed, is that there's a bunch of, there's groups on Facebook for everything. There's all kinds of groups. There's groups if you're a fireman. There's groups if you are into pottery. There's groups if you're into cats. There's groups if you have Hashimoto's. There's groups if you're vegan. There's groups if you are into gardening, like whatever you're into, there are groups for it. So I started to go into the different vegan groups. But one of the things that I noticed inside of vegan groups was that people were not very compassionate or welcoming to people who were just interested in looking at that way of life or looking at that form of nutrition, especially if they were only interested in it for their health, which I began to see that was something that turned people off from changing their health or looking further into their own nutrition. And so, you guys all know, at least I think that getting healthy is a very, very intimate, very personal, hard job. It is hard to change our habits, and that's why coaching is so important, because we have someone who's gone before us and that can give us guidance, can teach us, and can show us how to do it. So inside of these groups, I began to notice a theme that a lot of people were asking questions, but they were getting shot down right away, and made to feel less than. So what I did was I created my own group, and it's a plant-based group, and it's for people no matter where they're at in their journey, whether they're 20 years plant-based, whether they're 1 minute plant-based. It's just very welcoming to anybody wherever they're at. And I started that group in September, and I have over 1,800 members at this point. So October, November, December, January, February, March, April, we're, less than 7 months, less than 8 months, and I have over 1,800 members of people who are interested in changing their health and being supported. So, if you are like in groups and you're not really like catching your niche, or you're seeing that people aren't really being welcomed, or you're seeing a common theme, or even if you just want to have your own group that's based on, you're into pit bulls, then start your own group and, share with people and be active inside of that group and create a community inside of that group so that, you can be that go-to person for that wealth of knowledge on how you've changed your particular health in your particular life and how that's affected your family. Because that will be a great resource to you. And plus they're needed, welcoming groups are needed. So that was something else that I did. And that really helped me go from having, a 200, that's one of the things I did in having a 200, base of friends when I originally started 2 years ago. I'm able to increase my friends every day through that particular group and multiple groups is how I started to create my friends list to where it's over 1,200 now and growing every day. So if you're brand new and you're like me and you had 200 Facebook friends and they were all of your, basic friends and family, and you were like, how do I even expand? Groups are going to be the way that you want to expand. Like you will probably want to set at least 15 to 20 minutes a day just to go into, one or two of your favorite groups or a group that you've created and just make conversations and begin to have conversations with people, ask questions, and then you can begin to form relationships. And that's another way of getting yourself out there and being able to tell your story. I cannot stress how important it is to just be you and tell your story. And that can be extremely scary. I understand that. I know that. But that's what's going to really make people come to you and identify with you. As you build your team, like one of the things that I've really done with, I call my team the Sunshine Tribe. My middle name is Sunshine. So, that's just a part of my, how people know me as Jesika Sunshine. So my team is the Sunshine Tribe. And, again, inside of my personally sponsored coaches, I try to really create a sense of community, and a sense of empowerment. And I really try to, I hold a team call for my personally sponsored coaches once a week. I'm constantly reaching out and just helping my team to, whether it's in their personal health and fitness goals or whether it is in their business goals, to really tap into, those three vital behaviors of inviting, letting people know who they are, reading personal development. And my team is going to be reading a book all together, personal development book all together soon. And one thing that I did in the past was I did host a personal development group for all of Synergy, which was we did really well with that. And I should do that again for everybody sometime soon, because that really, really helps. I cannot stress to you enough how much personal development and then utilizing personal development is going to be to your business. Like utilizing it in your life circumstance, not just reading it because somebody told you should read personal development, but reading it, digesting the information, and then utilizing it in your day-to-day lives when your 2-year-old threw themselves screaming down on the floor, or when you got, a flat tire out on the road, or when you cooked somebody something for dinner and it came out, it burned because you forgot about it in the oven, or, those are pretty mild things that happen in life. Then there's the big stuff that happens in life, and then sharing about how you are getting through that, because and one of the things that I know my coaches talk to me a lot about is, well, I'm posting on social media, and I posted, I know my friend or my coach Tessa posted the other day in the Synergy group about how she had this like really long, deep post that she really spent a lot of time about, and it like got nobody, maybe one or two people liked it. And then she posted a random picture of this beautiful pink tree in her yard, and she got 30 likes, right? And that's happened to all of us. It's happened to me hundreds of times. So what's happening there is you just made 30 connections with people, and those people are watching you. Just because they didn't like a particular post, like click on the like button or comment, it means that you're still showing up in their algorithms and they're still watching you. So I literally have had people watch me for my entire journey who have reached out to me in the last 4 months, you know? So it's so hard to not be discouraged in the very beginning, or have times in our businesses where we don't get discouraged because it feels like nothing's happening, like nobody's seeing anything, nobody's commenting on anything. You know, those are the times that you just have to maybe work with your Success Club partner and switch up a little bit, or dig a little deeper into what you want to show of yourself. But remember that people are still waiting and watching to see how consistent you're going to be. And again, you know, getting healthy, losing weight, for whatever reason it is for you, is a very intimate and a very personal thing, you know? So, I know Julie wanted me to mention about how I was completely computer illiterate when I first started this, and I really literally was computer illiterate. My little brother taught me how to go online when he was like 4 and I was like 22. So like it just, computers weren't a part of my world like they are people's worlds today. So it's been really having to learn about webinars and you know, how to work Facebook, how to create events, how to create groups, how to make different things to make my business easier, how to use PicMonkey, how to use Canva, you know, how to use all of these things that I was just like, I don't know how to do this. And then, you know, I know one of the things that really discouraged me at first was like PicMonkey, and it took me forever to make a picture in PicMonkey. And so I wouldn't do it. And you know, but the more you do something, the better you get at it. So now I can go into PicMonkey and I literally can create something very, very quickly. But it's only because I practiced and I redid that over and over again until it became second nature to me. So we have 10 minutes. So I really want to open up the floor to you guys if you have any questions at all, or identified with anything that I said, or just whatever. Anybody want to take the big plunge and go first?
Hey, Jessica, it's Jennifer. Hi.
Jennifer Finney?
Yeah, Finney.
Hey.
Hey. How did you, when you did your plant-based group, did you advertise it, or did you just make it public, or how did you invite people to it?
I did never invited anybody to it, to be perfectly honest with you. But what you want to do is, because people can search keywords when you are creating your groups, there's going to be keywords that you can put into the description. Mm-hmm. That even though my name is Plant-Based Foodies, if you search Whole Foods in the toolbar or the search bar for Facebook groups, my group will come up.
Okay.
So you want to be sure to kind of think of, or you could even go in and look at, I don't know if you can go into look at into groups that you're currently in that you want to create a group like it. Yeah. And go in and see if you can see what their search words are, you know, but just kind of play around with that. But I literally get probably 20 people a week or more asking to join my group. And then I will be very honest with you, it's my group. So I go through, like, this takes a little bit of time, but I go through and I snoop each person before I add them. Right. So I want to see, first of all, if they're in the country. if they're in this country, like if they're in Egypt, I'll still add them to the group, but I'm not going to send them a friend request.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
If they're a Beachbody coach, unless they're on my team or I know them from Synergy, I'm not going to add them to my group.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I get to do that. It's my group. It's going to be your group. You get to do that, you know? But then I also shoot out a friend request to each person as I add them. And then I keep track of it so that if they don't accept my friend request within a week, I can take it back so that I don't set off any Facebook alarms. And then I shoot them a private message as well, like, hey, you know, welcome to Plant-Based Foodies. Really glad that you joined. What makes you interested in plant-based life? You know, and then I do, like, I add 30 people at a time. So I do a welcome post for each person where I actually tag them in that post as well. And I ask again. So I'm making a lot of contact with that initial contact. You know, they're getting a message from me. They're getting a friend request from me. They're seeing me tag them inside of the group, you know, so my name is coming up a lot.
Okay.
You know, it takes a little bit of time, but the benefits of it are great.
Awesome. Thanks.
No problem. No problem at all. We have 4.5 minutes. We have plenty of time.
So I have 2 questions for you.
Sure.
The first one is, have you ever had like a dry spell as a coach where you just, you know, felt stuck or you wanted to give up, and what got you out of that slump? And then I can't remember my second question. I'll ask that one in a minute. I'm so sorry.
No problem. Absolutely. I feel that way all the time. I actually, like, I struggle with that all of the time where I'm like, ugh, you know, but I think the thing that really keeps me motivated is freedom. I want freedom, you know, and freedom takes sacrifice. You know, I'm not going to have freedom from this business within the first 2 years, probably. Do you know what I mean? And if I didn't do anything for the first year, you can't count that year as coaching. I just was a discount coach. So, you know, I have to actually look at what my effort was. And that's why I try to keep it in the day. You know, like, what am I doing today that's going to propel me to where I want to be? And freedom is what I want. I want to be able to sit on the beach with my toes in the sand and work from my laptop. I want to be able to, if I want to fly down to wherever to visit my friend for the weekend, I want to be able to do that. You know, if I get sick, and this has been really something that hit home to me, if I get sick, which I did, I want to be able to provide myself with the best possible care and not have to be boxed in. So, you know, that's probably what's kept me really, really motivated, is my why. You know, going back to my why all of the time. And that changes. So does that help? Did you think of your other question?
Yeah, I did. I was just thinking about how you had an issue with learning about computers in the beginning of coaching. And I get frustrated with computers from time to time too. And I've grown up with them. So can you explain how, like, that process was? Like, were you frustrated? Did you want to give up? Or were you just like totally driven to figure the whole computer world out?
Well, luckily I have a husband who is very computer literate. So I get frustrated at times and I just hand him the computer and I say, make it work. You know, but that's not all of the time. I mean, I just literally just kept barreling through and making trial and error. And, you know, it's all part of that process of, you know, realizing that I don't know everything and that I have to learn. And that's hard for people. That's hard for me, especially when you have a big ego like I do, you know, to realize that you don't know something and you need to learn and you need to have help doing that. And so that's what happened. And I'm still learning all of the time. I need more training. So does that help? Okay, good. Anybody else? We have 2.5 minutes, which is plenty of time. Anybody?
I don't know if you work. Do you work?
I own another business.
Wow.
I do.
So my question then is, how do you do time management?
Oh my God.
That is the hardest things that I struggle with, working full time. I work over 50 hours a week, and then I do this, and I have a 1-year-old, and I'm pregnant.
Oh boy.
So time management is like huge for me. So do you have any tips on that?
Yeah, prioritize what you think is important for you. And if I have really gotten into thinking about like what it is I want to post. I mean, obviously you want to post things that are organic, that come up in life, but you are a teacher. Are you a teacher?
I'm a nurse.
You're a nurse. Okay. So you're a nurse. So you already have a really good background and base knowledge of the human body and how things work. So that's something that you could really share about. You could share about tips on that. And how, like, even though I don't know if this is true for you, but how, even though like maybe, you had this knowledge base, but you weren't actually able to apply it to yourself until something happened. Do you know what I mean? So your posting schedule, you may have to do things like power hours, you know what I mean? And do them in the early part. I work better in the morning than I do in the evening. Like 8:30 at night is late for me, I'll be honest. So I have to look at what I need to get done and get it done in the early part of the day so that I don't put it off. So, and just being disciplined, and going back to, what is your why? What do you want to create? Why do you want to create that? And what are you willing to do today? And what are you maybe willing to sacrifice today to do that? Because in the end, in a 3-year or 4-year period of time, you could have created a lot more freedom than you create today for yourself. So get it done early. That's my biggest tip. I can hop back on for a few minutes if you guys want. If not, we have less than a minute. I just want to give you that option.